What's going on, guys? Your boy Amazing. We're back with another video, and in today's video, guys, we're gonna be doing the updated tier list for Grand Cross units as of August 2024. So we're gonna be going over these three characters here, guys, on the updated tier list. We have the True Seeker Merlin, or Infinity Merlin, I mean. We do also have Thor, and then we also have Balder as the characters that I'm going to be ranking this month. Now, if you guys see here, this is what the tier list does look like from last month. If you guys do want to see the tier list from last month and you know where I ranked last month's characters as well, I'll have that video linked in the description. But this is just the gist of pretty much what it looks like for the PVE side and the PVEs and the PvP side respectively. So you guys can see here as I scroll through. You can pause the video if you want to see a specific part. But yeah. We're going to be talking these three new units though, guys. If you guys enjoy videos like this, definitely make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. I appreciate all the support on the channel as of late, guys. So, you know, if you haven't hit that sub button, turn on post notifications as well, so you don't miss out on any of these new videos. Now, with that out of the way, man, let's hop in and let's talk the brand new Infinity Merlin and where we're going to rank her on the PvE side of the game and the PvP side of the game. Alright, guys, so hopping into the first unit that we have here, it's going to be the Ocean Seeker Major Infinity Merlin. She released last month, but I wasn't able to fit her in the tier list because I didn't have the time to test her out. After being able to test her out, guys, we know exactly where she's going to be placed. Let's read her kit here. Let's talk about what she's actually able to provide for the team. So for her passive right here, guys, it's going to be a Major DC, applies one random element on the enemy unaffected by elements at the start of the ally's turn, then increases the hero's basic stats by 7% for each element on the enemy, and when an ally uses a skill on an enemy affected by an element, it additionally applies the corresponding elemental effect for 3 turns, and then add 4 elemental effect stacks. It removes the element and elemental effects, and then applies the corresponding debuff dependent on the element that was on the enemy. And then in addition, basic stats of unknown race allies are increased by 5% for each one participating in the battle. And if an elemental effect is removed due to the unique ability or holy relic effect, it inflicts damage equal to 15% of the enemy's remaining HP for each elemental effect removed. And this does not apply to instances where the effect was removed when the target survives due to the unique ability or the holy relic effect. So that's going to be Merlin's passive right there. Now moving on to her skills here, guys. Her first skill is going to be increasing drops. It's going to decrease HP related stats of one enemy by 20% for 1 turn and inflicts damage equal to 200% of attack. This is going to scale up from 20 to 25 and then 250 from 200. And then on the rank 3, it's going to be 30% HP related, 2 turns, and 300% of attack. Moving on to her next skill here, guys, she's going to have the Song of Temptation. It's going to inflict damage equal to 100% of attack on all enemies and also decreases the skill ranks of the enemies as well. And this also does scale up as well. And then on the rank 3, it's going to deplete the ultimate move gauge by the number of skills that the ranks had also decreased. So the more ranks you decrease, the more gauge you also decrease as well with this skill. And then moving on to her ultimate here, guys, Max Infinity, and this is at the 1 out of 6 level of the dupe level, applies one random elemental effect without duplicates to all enemies, then deals elemental explosion damage equal to 350% of attack. Elemental explosion is going to be plus 5% damage dealt for every elemental effect on the target. And then moving on, guys, her holy relic here, which does not really affect this Merlin specifically, but is part of the kit technically. Is going to be for the other one mainly, but yeah, the cube right here is going to decrease all allies damage taken by 3% up to 30 for every debuff applied to all enemies. And then if all allies are the $7 Sins heroes, including the secondary hero, all the allies participating in the battle will have their basic stats increased by 15%. Alright, guys, so that's going to be Merlin's kill right there. Now let's actually see where we rank her on the tier list, man. So where are we going to be ranking this character on the tier list for PvE? Let's do PvP first. Actually, we'll do PvP first. Actually, I'm gonna place her in the A tier, and the reason why I'm gonna place her in the A tier, guys, is that she's gonna be, you know, just an option on Unknown. I don't think she's gonna be like super crazy on Unknown. Remember that Unknown is the main meta team right now, and I do still have this team from last month at the top in the S tier meta. But I think this Merlin is just kind of a character you can slot in. She's not gonna be like a, you know, a mainstay on the Unknown team in terms of PvP, but she'll definitely be an option. And that's the nice thing about her, is that, you know, she's another option on the team, you know, obviously providing the basic stats for the allies. She's gonna apply the elemental explosion, and all of that stuff I think is all gonna, you know, work out for this Merlin. And yeah, I mean, I think she's a solid A tier above average meta character. Yeah, I mean, she's gonna be solid. Now moving on to the PVE side of the game, guys, Merlin is only gonna be probably in the C tier. Honestly, I might even put her lower because when you really think about it, what are you gonna really be using this Merlin for? Now you can use the basic stat part of her passive in PVE, so I guess that's nice. But like, are you really gonna be using this character for any PVE content in general though? Probably not. I'll give her the benefit of the doubt. I'll give her C tier because I think, you know, providing the basic stats for the team is nice. If you're running a full unknown team, she could act as a blue unit maybe on the deer, let's say. You know, she has a single target as well. So yeah, I mean, there is like, you know, some viability here with this character. I don't think she's gonna be super insane because of it though, but you know, I think there is maybe a few use cases, but super niche as it says for C tier, and you're not really gonna have like, you know, this character being better than anyone above this above the list here, guys. So yeah, that's where I'm gonna rank the Merlin, man. Let's move on now to Thor. Now we're gonna be talking about the UR Festival Thor. All right, guys, so we're hopping into the Hammer of Justice Thor, the God of Thunder. Let's actually go over her kit and then we'll see where we rank her on the tier list. So for her passive right here, Hammer of Judgment, at the start of the battle applies Divine Lightning on the hero and decreases applicable allies damage taken by 30% for 2 turns. When Divine Lightning reaches its maximum value, the effect is removed and the hero gains Thunder God's Judgment for 3 turns. In addition, for each applicable ally participating in the battle, all of the hero stats will be increased by 5%, and for each buff or debuff applied to the applicable allies, the hero's damage dealt increases by 4% up to 40. Now, in terms of the effects on her actual, you know, passive right here, guys, she has the applicable allies obviously being unknown race or Ragnarok characteristic. And then for the Divine Lightning here, it's going to be damage dealt and damage taken accumulated up to 300,000 damage. And then inflicts additional damage equal to 30% of the stored damage when using a skill. And then plus 50% damage dealt to taunted targets. Now the Thunder God's Judgment is going to be attack related stats plus 30%. Inflicts additional damage equal to 50% of the final damage to all enemies when using a single target attack. And then also plus 50% damage dealt to taunted targets as well. And then that's also gonna, when this does you know, reset, it's gonna apply Divine Lightning as it's removed. Yeah, so pretty much as you cycle through the Divine Lightning and the Thunder God's Judgment, you're gonna keep pretty much cycling through both of them, and you're gonna have to rinse and repeat through to go through her passive. Now moving on to her first skill here, guys, she's going to have the Lightning Shift skill. It's going to inflict Lightning Strike damage equal to 200% of attack on one enemy. Lightning Strike is going to be ×2 critical chance increase, and then ignore 80% of the enemy's critical defense on skill use. And this is going to scale from 200 to 300 to 500% of attack on the rank 3 right there. Now moving on to her second skill here, guys, she's going to have the Thunderstorm skill. This is going to inflict Thunderbolt damage equal to 180% of attack on one enemy. Now Thunderbolt is going to be ×2 critical damage increase, and then ignore 100% of the enemy's critical resistance on skill use while the Thunder God's Judgment is active. And this is going to scale up from 180 to 270 to 360% of attack. And then moving on to her ultimate here, guys, God of Thunder. It's going to inflict Thunderbolt damage equal to 500% of attack on all enemies. When their HP falls, or when her HP falls to 15% or less in battle, the hero gains Thunder God's Protection for 1 turn and limit once. And then Thunder God's Protection is going to be allies damage taken -30%, and the hero becomes immune to all damage, which is really, really good. So yeah, you're able to proc this at 1 into 6, guys. It just has to be less than 15% HP to be able to proc it. Alrighty, guys, so that's going to be Thor's kit right there. Now, where are we actually going to rank her on the tier list for the PvE and PvP side of the game? Now, the first thing that we got here is PvE, and I'm going to literally put her all the way up right now into the A tier. And the reason why I have her in A tier specifically, guys, is that she's going to be a very strong character and able to be used in pretty much all content in the game. She's also really strong on the floor for the bird, and honestly, you could honestly argue her to be a S tier character where you use her in pretty much everything in the game. And honestly, I'm kind of thinking about it now, man. Maybe we do. The reason why I have DK Melly so high is because you can use him in all endgame content in the game. I mean, the only thing that I think Thor kind of, you know, struggles in, and not that she even like struggles in the content, but I don't think she's just as good as like DK Melly, let's say. But that would be for like Demon King, right? I think for Demon King, she's not the greatest on that, but pretty much everything else in terms of PvE content, she's gonna be on the level of DK Melly or even better in some circumstances. And another thing as well that Thor is able to do is that, you know, when you're fighting the rat, she's able to actually clear through a lot of the phases like very, very quickly, whereas DK Melly will not be as fast as this character. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely arguable. I think I probably will settle with the A tier at the end of the day, guys. You know, it really depends though, man. Like, what do you value more? when using this character? Do you value the fact that she does more damage than DK Melly, and also the fact that, you know, she's able to cycle through her damage pretty consistently? I think the main thing that DK Melly has over her is the fact that he can cleanse the allies, and then also the fact that he's going to be ranking up his skills pretty consistently too. So yeah, I mean, it's really, you know, who you want to choose here, guys, but I think I'm going to slot her in the A tier there for PvE. Alright guys, now moving on to the PvP side of the game, where we're actually going to rank Thor for PvP. I mean, this is a given, guys. I feel like this was already kind of a, you know, a given in like the moment we talked about this character, but she's going to be in the S tier, top of the meta. Now, one thing that I do want to change about the top of the meta here is we're actually going to move the Sins team to the number 3 team in the game. So as you guys see here, I do have it ranked based on the teams here. So we have obviously human team here in the first slot, and then we have unknown, and then we also have you know, a Sins team. But obviously, you know, Eskener is on that team. Also I feel like you know, where's now Fumi? He should definitely be up here as well. And then yeah, I mean, also you could argue this character too, Lilia, but I will probably leave her in the B tier sub meta, because I still think that this is the best variant. You have Arthur, Naofumi, and then Escanor, and then Percival backline, or you can run LR Liz backline. And then I think unknown team would be second with this variant specifically, right? So this team right here. And then, yeah, with Nanashi back. And then Hell is another option on the team, which I will leave on. It's kind of like an LR Liz with Percival situation. It's like you can slot Hell instead of Victoria whenever. It just depends on whether you own the unit or not, especially, you know, with Hell getting her relic. And then, yeah, guys, I mean, Sins team has to be, unfortunately, the number 3 team right now in the game. I think Unknown's gotten so much now, especially with Thor, Sobnak, and we still have another character to talk about as well being on this list. So, yeah, I mean, just a ton of stuff for Unknown right now in the meta. And so I got to give them at least the number 2 slot in the game. And then, yeah, humans will still be number 1, and then Sins will be number 3 in my opinion. So this is pretty much where I have in terms of the actual, like, tier list itself. Alright guys, now one thing I did want to add before we actually move on is that I actually wanted to move Galen up to the A tier here, and this is because of floor 4 of the bird. This character actually is a viable option, and because of that I gotta give him A tier. You also probably could use him in all the other demonic beasts too and be fine. So yeah, I definitely had to bump up Galen here. You know, he's gotten a little bit of more use cases now with floor 4 of the bird. But yeah, I mean, you know, you are able to use him as well, so I just wanted to make note of that and add Galen into the A tier. Alright guys, now hopping into the final character here that we're going to be ranking on the tier list is going to be the Hidden Glimmer God of Light Balder. Now let's actually go over his kit, and then we'll talk about where we're going to rank him on the tier list. So for Balder's passive here, the Guardian of Light applies Sword of Light and Reflection Halo rank 2 on the hero at the start of the battle. Increases the basic stats of applicable allies by 5% for each time the hero inflicts damage on the enemy, up to 30%. And then in addition, the hero's defense related stats increases by 10% for each applicable ally participating in the battle. And if the hero is assuming a stance, applicable allies defense related stats will increase by 30% on top of that. And then each time the hero's stance is removed, the hero's recovers HP equal to 30% of their max HP. Now Sword of Light is going to increase the hero's critical damage by 40% each time an applicable ally takes damage from an enemy skill, up to 240%. And the applicable allies are going to be either unknown race or the Ragnarok characteristic. Alright guys, so hopping into Balder's first skill here, we got the Gradient Slash. This is going to inflict damage equal to 180% of defense on one enemy and inflict or deplete one ultimate move gauge orb from the enemy. This is going to scale from 180 to 270 at 2 gauge and then 450 at 3 gauge. And remember, this is of defense, guys, not attack percent. Now moving on to his stand skill here, guys, we have the Reflection Halo, and remember that in his passive it specifies that you get the rank 2 Reflection Halo on the start of turn, so that's definitely another benefit as well. But Reflection Halo is going to assume a stance for 1 turn, which deals sever damage equal to 150% of defense via counter when the ally is attacked. And the you know, the effect on the actual counter here is going to be sever damage, which is times 3 critical chance increase. And then for the ranks of the skills, guys, this is going to scale up from 150% of defense, 200% of the defense, and then 2 turns 300% of defense. So yeah, definitely a really good effect right there, and another nice counter skill that you know, Balder's able to take advantage. And then moving on to his ultimate here, guys, we have Shining Judgment. I do have Balder at 3 to 6, so bear in mind that it'll be different based on the dupe level. Increases the hero's defense related stats by 50% for 2 turns. Then inflicts flood damage equal to 360% of defense on all enemies. And the flood is going to be 0.8% additional damage for every percent of remaining HP on self. Alright guys, so that's going to be Balder's kit right there. Now, where are we actually going to rank him on the tier list here for PvP and PvE? So let's start with PvE. I'm actually going to give Balder a solid A tier. I mean, he's another character that you can pretty much use in all PvE content in the game. And you guys will see throughout this week in terms of my videos, I'm going to be posting a bunch of Balder showcases on PvE content. And he's great. You know, you're able to use him in pretty much everything. I think the only thing that you can't use him in is Nidhogg, Rat, and then Floor 4 the bird, and those are only specifically because, you know, the character is just not able to counter on those fights, you know what I mean? Demon King, though, he's great. I think he's a really good substitute for Albedo, and, you know, Albedo I obviously rank very, very highly. You know, we have her in A tier as well, and the main reason why is because she's able to be used in Demon King and then all other content, just like, you know, Balder. I feel like if you have Balder, then he's pretty much like the replacement for Albedo, pretty much, if you don't have Albedo. But if you have Albedo, then, you know, I feel like they're both relatively the same in terms of strength for PvE. But that's where I would rank Balder on the PvE side of the game. Now, for PvP, guys, we gotta rank Balder in the top tier, in my opinion, actually. And the reason why I say this is because I think he is another meta option, though, like a main meta option. You know, I have Merlin, obviously, in the A tier, and I said she was a option for unknown. But the thing is with Balder is that he is, like, if you run this character, gonna allow you to win a lot of the times going second, regardless of the character you have in this third slot. So usually what my team would be Sobnok, Thor, and then you can either have Balder, Hel, or Vittoria, and then Nanashi back. And I think that actually is the best variant of, you know, unknown here, where you can run either of these three characters and it works, and then Nanashi back, and then Thor and Sobnok. And I think that's going to be a really good setup for this team comp right here, guys. So yeah, man, that's pretty much what I would say would be the PvP and PvE tier list as of August 2024, guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, and where you guys would have ranked the characters in your opinion. But this is what the tier list looks like after August, you know, the update with that. So yeah, man, that's going to be it for the video. I hope you guys did enjoy, and we'll see you guys on the next one, man. Peace out, and have a great rest of your day, guys. See you later, man.